I'm shocked, as I know many people are, about the happenings in Charlottesville, Virginia this week. My words can only ever be a reverberation in the echo chamber of consolation, and my admonition of Mr. Trump's statements on the matter can only add to what people have said about his depravity. I don't know if it's American media that's plastering this news all over the place, or if people are indeed more apt to fear and hate lately. But these kinds of tragedies seem to be happening more and more. But this week, I don't want to talk about the violence coming from many sides. And I don't want to talk about the hundreds of people at peaceful Black Lives Matter protests who were arrested or beaten by the police. And I don't want to compare that to the terrorism in Charlottesville, resulting in the arrest of 4 white supremacists, after dozens of people were injured and 1 person killed. I don't want to talk about that. This week I want to talk about what goes on in someone's head to allow them to do something like that. You see, this is something... I'll take a break. This episode's going to be a little heavier than usual. You see, this is something that has interested me periodically for a long time. Anytime a tragedy like this strikes, it provokes this question inside me: how can someone do that to another someone? War, genocide, rape, terrorism, racism, assault, these are all terrible, objectively terrible things. And many of them require more than just inaction to do. Many of these hurts are personal, one-on-one. At the same time, most, if not all of these people, believe that what they're doing is right. What? They rationalize things and make themselves the hero in their narrative. Someone who is going to commit a horrible atrocity, either before or after the event, unconsciously or consciously, makes a rationalization to make what they're doing good. But it's not just them. It's everyone. Everyone is the hero of their own narrative. We all believe that we are doing the right thing. And the very concept that we are doing something wrong or mean is rejected. This doesn't make sense, does it? There must be some sort of crossed wire. You see, person A and person B get in a fight. Person A punches person B. Person B, obviously upset that they've been punched, kicks person A. And then they keep one-upping each other until they die or whatever. But both person A and B think that they were in the right and the other was in the wrong. Person A rationalized their actions to make it okay to punch another person. They believe it's okay to punch other people. Person B rationalized the retaliation with a kick. They think it's okay to kick someone just so long as they've been punched. It goes on and on like this, constantly buying their actions with these rationalizations. I say this because you need to understand that the people committing these acts of terror, for the most part, aren't psychopaths. A psychopath is someone with a malformation in their brain which inhibits their ability to feel empathy. Empathy is this natural ability to put ourselves into someone else's shoes. Psychopaths don't have that. And without it, you can do some pretty terrible things. Just a quick Google search for famous psychopaths gets you a laundry list of terrible people. And it can show you what can happen without empathy. But empathy is something that most of us have. Only about 1% of the population is diagnosed with psychopathy. So in all likelihood, you watching this experience empathy day to day. You experience it when you watch somebody hurt themselves on the internet, or when you cry at a sad movie, or when you gasp in fear at a scary story someone is telling you. Feeling empathy is involuntary. What we do with that feeling is a choice. People who commit these atrocities and who aren't psychopaths have to actively ignore their empathy in order to do bad things or let bad things happen to others. And there's the word of the day, folks. Others. Describing somebody as an other is distancing language. It puts up this invisible barrier between person A and person B. And it tells person A that the empathy I feel for person B is invalid and I can ignore it. And the lines can be drawn however you want. You want somebody outside of your social group? Make them an other. Lost, with its big, confusing subplots, needed to introduce a group of people that we didn't really trust or care about if they died. And what did they call them? Others. The Nazis, in what led up to World War II, described the Jews in a bunch of propaganda campaigns as less than human, dogs, animals that needed extermination. It doesn't matter what you call them, infidels, criminals, members of the KKK, terrorists, black people. This is othering language. By using this distancing language, you're painting a picture for yourself that that person, also distancing language, doesn't matter as much as me. This othering offers your rationalization a really helpful tool. By putting a person in this other camp, your empathy need not apply to them. It makes it much easier to sidestep. With all of this othering going on, it can be difficult to care for your neighbor or care for anyone you meet. So how can we do this? Now, I don't claim to have solved the world's problems, but I've written up a little list of challenges that anyone wanting to increase their empathy might want to try. Wear shoes. As much as we like to put people in different camps, we are much more alike than we are different. Sometime this week, actively participate in the imagining of yourself in someone else's position. And don't let yourself use the, well, we're different people shtick. No one is born hating another person. Experience their entire life. Experience the things they have. And don't stick to the easy ones either. A homeless person is just like me. A criminal is just like me. A CEO, a celebrity, a terrorist member of the KKK, Donald Trump. It's a hard one, but they're just like me. They all have feelings. They all make mistakes. We are all flawed human beings who think we're doing the right thing. Be a parrot. Sometime this week, when speaking to somebody, especially in a heated discussion, practice repeating what the other person has said. Either repeat it verbatim or summarize it. This does two really cool things. Firstly, it makes your conversation partner feel listened to, and that's a wonderful feeling of validation for them. And secondly, you'll be surprised how often what you heard isn't what they said. Build an arc. Stole that from Bruce Almighty. Do something kind for a stranger without expecting anything in return. While in a drive-thru, pay for the car behind you. Leave an extra large tip. Help someone hand out flyers. Give an unexpected compliment. By doing something really small for someone outside of your initial friend group, you get to learn how little energy it takes. And you get to know that feeling of feeling really good afterward. And lastly, read. Reading has been shown in proper studies with clipboards and stuff to increase empathy. When you're reading something, especially fiction, you're literally forced, in a good way, to occupy someone's point of view. And there's no downside I can think of. You have a nice time reading a fun story, and you increase empathy at the same time. Thank you for watching. I know things can be terrible. I know things often are. But let's care for one another. Damn, I didn't mean to make a point. Cool. See you next week.